Hi, my name is Julio Rivera. I'm an activist, journalist, adventurer, veteran, television presenter, and businessman. I've covered many of the major historical events going on around the world over the past several years, and after watching regime changes, conflict, and historic elections globally, I've come to the conclusion that the most underreported crisis in the world today can be defined in only one word: malware. That's why I've decided to dedicate my time to educating people everywhere and exposing the dangers that exist on the devices that we've become tethered to and depend on for so many reasons in our day-to-day life. Welcome to This Week in Malware. On This Week in Malware, we'll be covering the hackers behind Avaddon Ransomware react to a recently released free decryptor. Has your browser been hijacked and redirecting to searchly.com? And the dangers of Lockbit ransomware decoded. Hackers love to take advantage of unsuspecting victims. That feeling of control is thought to be part of the rush that these online profiteers feel when they score big in a ransomware heist. So what happens when a white hat programmer attempts to ride in on a white horse and liberate the ransomware victims with free Decryptor software? Here's one example that recently grabbed headlines. Spaniard Javier Yusti, a student at the Rey Juan Carlos University in Madrid, recently released a free decryptor for victims of Avaddon ransomware. But hackers quickly updated the malware code, rendering it useless. The utility initially worked for victims that had not powered off their computers after infection. Avaddon ransomware is a threat that bears a resemblance to Maze ransomware. It not only encrypts the victim's data, but also steals it and issues a threat to make it public via a data leak site. Avaddon operators have already released data from Liberty Linehaul and US Auto Parts Network Inc. One hallmark of this particular strain of ransomware is that it deletes backups. Although it practices the traditional removal of shadow copies of user files, this ransomware also deletes backups, disables auto repair and recovery, and empties the recycle bin. It can do this by escalating privileges with UAC, bypassing through CMSTPLUA COM interface exploitation. The utility developed by Yusti dumped RAM in the infected computer and scanned it for data that would allow recovery of the encryption key. According to ZDNet, if enough information is recovered, the tool can then be used to decrypt files and help victims recover from Avaddon's attacks without needing to pay the gang's ransom demand. Once the hackers behind Avaddon ransomware were informed of the availability of the decryption tool, they released an update for the infection that rendered the tool useless. Security experts opine that the decision to release the decryptor publicly was a bad decision in instances where the decryption tool exploited flaws in the malware's code because it allowed ransomware operators to fix the issues with their code. Also, the way that Avaddon ransomware authors swiftly updated their code shows the effectiveness of their activities. If your web browser's homepage has unexpectedly changed to a search page you've never heard of, or if you find that the default search engine in your browser search bar has redirected you to a completely different search engine like searchly.com, you may be a victim of a browser hijacker. Searchly.com is a questionable search engine associated with browser hijackers, adware, and potentially unwanted programs. Its actual purpose is to boost traffic for partner websites and the content they advertise. Searchly.com is created by Linkury Inc., an organization that designed a tool named SafeFinder. The installation of a browser hijacker may occur accidentally. Most browser hijackers are usually distributed via bundles of free software, pirated or cracked software, torrent websites, and spam emails. Pages that contain a lot of flashy ads or pop-ups are more likely to be websites that could be part of a browser hijacker distribution network. Searchly.com uses popular search engines to fool victims. If you run a web search through Searchly.com, it will display results generated by other search engines like Yahoo Search. Does this mean that Yahoo Search is somehow related to Searchly.com? Not at all. It's quite common for browser hijackers to piggyback on well-known search engines. Browser hijackers associated with websites like Searchly.com may display unwanted pop-ups, inject ads directly into the browser, and divert online visitors to websites that are heavy with advertisements and sponsored content. It may also collect data such as your web searches, IP address, and sites visited. Since the main objective of Searchly.com is to promote third-party content and redirect traffic, it is bound to expose you to unreliable websites that promote dangerous content with aggressive advertising policies. It also means that in a worst-case scenario, you may be directed to malware-laced websites. Deleting Searchly.com. If a browser hijacker has infected your computer and your browser is redirecting to Searchly.com, you may need to take the appropriate steps to undo the changes made to your browser. Remove suspicious programs or browser extensions, especially those programs you do not recognize. Reset the web browser to default settings. Clear out your browser cache and the DNS cache. If the browser redirects persist, then it is advised to run a reputable anti-malware program to scan for, detect, and remove browser hijackers, adware, or potentially unwanted programs from your computer. The Lockbit ransomware gang is using several different automation tools and techniques to enable the crypto-locking malware to quickly spread through compromised networks and assist in selecting targets. Lockbit ransomware is used for encrypting victims' data and exfiltrating that data to extort victims into paying the ransom to avoid having their data publicly released. Malware analysts have also noticed that other hacking syndicates, including the Maze Gang, cross-reference Lockbit victims on their leak sites that disclose information regarding various attacks and give names of victims. Lockbit leaves few forensic traces, and according to Sean Gallagher, senior threat researcher at Sophos, it's not clear what the initial compromise was across these organizations, as we had no visibility into the event. He added, but it appears all of the activity and the attacks we analyzed here were initiated from a single compromised server within the network used as the mothership for the Lockbit attack. Lockbit uses PowerShell. Researchers have also found that Lockbit uses several PowerShell scripts that help the automation process. These scripts enable operators to target specific processes that reveal financial data, including tax accounting and point-of-sale software. The use of PowerShell scripts also helps the malware quickly infect entire networks, immediately locking victims' files. We've seen ransomware shut down businesses and applications upon execution, but this is the first time we've seen attacks looking for certain types of applications in an automated approach to score potential targets, Sean Gallagher, senior researcher at Sophos, said. Lockbit and automation. Although it's not been determined how Lockbit attacks exactly start, researchers have found a trend that shows the extensive use of PowerShell scripts in the latter stages of Lockbit deployment. Lockbit operators use a weaponized version of PowerShell Empire to collect data on potential victims as they prepare to deploy their attacks. Lockbit obtained information goes on sale on hacker forums. The information and access obtained via Lockbit attacks are sometimes offered on hacker forums for a price. Although hacking as a whole has grown in profitability since 2020, A new report from threat intelligence firm Kayla indicates that the number of offers for network access and their median prices on the public post on hacker forums dropped in the final quarter of last year. For only $1,500 to $2,000, criminals can gain access to domain admin rights for a medium-sized company with less than 1,000 employees. That price will surely allow for many more small-time criminals to engage in the online criminal underworld. Additionally, the boost in remote working and distance learning because of COVID-19 has increased the number of potentially vulnerable victims and made conditions more favorable for Lockbit and other ransomware operators to expand their activities. You know, as I think about the dangers that exist online, not unlike the subjects we learned about in this video, I know I feel a lot better having an anti-malware program like SpyHunter installed in my PC, providing me the protection I need against malware, and I think you should too. SpyHunter 5's strongest features are found in its malware repair capabilities. SpyHunter 5's remediation algorithms dive deep into your system to remove and address complex malware issues affecting PCs today. While many anti-malware products only flag and quarantine malware and ultimately fail to fully remediate the root problem, the SpyHunter 5 remediation algorithm detects, quarantines, and programmatically repairs malware problems on your PC. SpyHunter 5 is a powerful PC utility that repairs malware threats in many cases where other competing anti-malware and antivirus programs may fail. To detect and remove malware for free, go to enigmasoftware.com and download SpyHunter today. Thanks for watching.